gone up so much.
I just recently heard a statistic that said that for you to buy, and this is for Canadians, so in the States you might be a little bit different, but probably similar, for you to buy exactly the same groceries that you bought 1 year ago, it's going to cost you at least an extra $700 this year because of inflation.
$700.
Honestly, if I think about my grocery budget over the last few years, I used to try to spend between $700 and $800 a month on groceries. These days, with a family, and I don't buy like expensive, elaborate foods. That was like the basics, right? Like we eat good, healthy food, but it's not like we're having steak for dinner 3 nights a week.
Not even maybe three
times a year. Anyways, and so I used to spend like a year to 2 years ago, I was spending between $700 and $800. Now I cannot do the same thing for less than $1,000. So that tells you how much the price of food has gone up. But I think the thing is, we don't want to quit eating healthy because food's gotten more expensive.
No, in fact, we need to keep eating healthy so that we can keep living because, wow, all that packaged junk food just makes you sick.
Yeah. Well, and many of you are here wanting to lose weight. We know that because a lot of videos on our channel are about weight loss and losing weight and, losing weight in a healthy way that's not about being on a diet.
That's not really over the top expensive.
Exactly. And so, just because food gets more expensive doesn't mean we want to just gain a whole pile of weight. We still want to lose the weight we want to lose, right? And so today we have 7 tips for you for how to save money at the grocery store.
Woo! We're going to save, we're not going to spend more.
While still eating healthy. Because as Christian women, we got to treat these bodies like a temple. We always say, treat your body like a temple, not a trash can. And so we've got to find ways to still be able to do that, right?
Yeah. And the other thing is, the Bible also tells us to be good stewards of our money. So we have to put the two together. They have to be congruent. That's a big word.
Yeah, it really is. So these 7 tips are things we do most of them. There's a few that maybe we don't personally do, but they're great things to do in order to save money.
And you'll know what we're talking about when we get to that point.
Exactly. So let's just dive right into the very first point for how to save money and still eat healthy, and it is
have some vegetarian days in your week. Even if you think right now, I love meat. I can't go without meat.
We have some of those in our family.
My husband is one of those. But I say to him, it's okay to have a vegetarian day. It's a healthy meal. And I'm going to say you can get a lot of protein, good protein from lentils.
And it can still be so filling.
Yeah, that's right. He doesn't even know the difference if he actually just eats the food and he'll say, oh, that's delicious.
Yeah, and lentils and beans are still very inexpensive foods that are really quite healthy for us. And there's so many things you can do with those types of foods. With beans, you can make black bean burgers, right?
And they're delicious.
So good. With lentils, you can do the same thing. You can make lentil patties. You can make
lentil curry dishes, which I absolutely love.
Yeah. In fact, I one time have made lentil meatballs. They were so good. And my husband loved them too. So there's so many ways to use your imagination.
Yeah, we have to get creative.
Yeah, exactly. But having some vegetarian days is such a great way to slash the budget a little bit and still eat healthy.
Yeah, you don't have to eat meat every day of the week.
No.
And that is, I think you're going to have the most cost savings by doing this one tip.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because beans, you can buy if you have an Instapot, you can make beans. So you buy them dry, and that's very inexpensive.
Yeah.
But compared to even, I'm going to say inexpensive meat, which we say maybe is hamburger, but that's I don't know how much it is now. It's $5 to $7 a pound.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Where beans are 70 cents a pound.
Yeah.
What a big difference.
I know.
That's a huge cost saving.
You can still buy a can of beans for $1 to $1.50 here where we live, and that's the protein for your whole family for a meal.
That's right.
Right?
So can we save money? Yes, we can.
Yeah. And you know what? We're going to say, when we talk about stuff like this, we often get so many objections, and people are like, yeah, but I can't have beans because I have IBS, or I can't have
Find something else.
Find something else.
Because this week, here's a vegetarian meal that I made, which was homemade butternut squash soup. And it is so delicious. Mm-hmm. And butternut squash is not cheap, but it is cheap when you think about how much it makes. It makes a whole pot of soup. So it's what I added was 2 carrots, an onion, some celery, and butternut squash. And it made about, I'm going to say, for 2 people, it made at least 5 meals each.
Yeah.
That's inexpensive.
Yeah. So we're not saying that your issues aren't real, because if you can't have beans, don't eat beans.
That's right.
But find a way, right? That's the thing. Find a way.
Yeah.
So our second point is you're going to have to do some prep work and make your own food. This is another one where we sometimes get some pushback because
so
people
I'm
are
too busy. I can't do it.
But we've got to start prioritizing it, right? And if we want health, it's going to require some work. It's going to require some sacrifice, whether that sacrifice be in your time or your budget, or like we've got to do the work to have health, right? It doesn't just magically happen. We all know that because
we say we have to get back to basics, and back to basics mean using real food. And it doesn't have to be the expensive, like stuff you've never heard of. It can be just healthy, good food, but get back to basics and don't buy it already done for you, because all that is a bunch of chemicals going into your body. And it's cheaper to make it yourself.
I was going to say, and it's more expensive when you're buying it all pre-done for you. So like take a day of the week or carve out an hour for yourself somewhere to do some prep work so that you have some food ready to go in your fridge. And you know what? You are going to be surprised how much money you save if you actually prep some food for yourself, right?
You know what? Here's an extra tip too that we don't even have written down. It just came to my mind when we're talking about that. Maybe stop eating out so much.
That should have been the first one on our list.
I think that's going to save you the most money.
I think so, yeah, because I think I read a stat about that not too long ago too. The average, I think this was an American statistic, the average American family is spending like $400 to $500 at restaurants every month.
Oh my goodness.
Like, that doesn't take long.
Yeah.
Right?
So
it doesn't take long for that to add up.
Okay, so it's not 7 tips, it's 8 tips.
Yeah. Exactly.
Stop eating out so much. Like, even if you are used to eating out 5 nights a week, eat out 3 nights a week.
Yeah.
And you've saved a whole ton of money.
Yeah, because so many people, and we find especially for you guys in the States, because it's cheaper for you there to eat out than it is for us here. But so many people go like, but it's cheaper to eat out than it is to make my own food. That is such a lie. Okay, it doesn't matter.
Because if we go out, we cannot, like if we go out for a nice meal, and I'm saying a healthy meal, or even just like, even a hamburger
even
and fries,
McDonald's these days is nuts.
Yeah, but even a hamburger and fries in a restaurant, which isn't healthy, is at least $20 to $25 just for that meal. Mm-hmm. And so if we go out for a meal, it's like $60, and that's not for including drinks. That is simply the meal and drinking water.
Yeah, by the time we factor in the tax and the tip.
You can make a couple of meals for $60.
But even if you're just going to McDonald's, it's like $12 to $15 for a meal there these days. And you leave and you're not even full. It's crazy.
It's like you'd have to go home and eat something because you're still hungry.
I think the only place that it's cheaper to eat out than it is to make it at home is a hot dog at Costco. And that is like the grossest. Those hot dogs gross me out so bad.
And it's not healthy.
No, it's not.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's the only place. $1.50. The price hasn't gone up, I think, since 1985 or something.
No, and their whole trick with that is to get you to spend more money there. Yeah. But yes, I think you're right.
I think that's it.
But
we digress.
We're talking about saving money, but still eating healthy.
Yeah.
So that's not it.
No, exactly. But I just had to throw that in. Okay, before we get to our third tip, we want to tell you that we are going to be doing something really exciting here on the YouTube channel starting on March 15th. We are going to be hosting a live 10-day challenge for you to reclaim your health and lose some weight. Now, if you've been around for any length of time with us, you might have been part of one of our live 10-day challenges in the past.
Yeah, and they're a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. So
we're going to do this one a little bit different. We're going to do it all on YouTube. You can choose to do your challenge however you want. We are going to be following our 10-day WeighDown plan.
That's the sign in the background because it's WeighDown Lifestyle.
So we've linked that plan below in the description. You can go to 10dayweighdown.com, WEIGH Weigh.
I just want to tell you, the best thing about this plan is that you don't have to count anything. You don't have to count carbs or calories or macros or points. And we eat food that is like normal food.
Yeah. We've had over 1,000 women go through these challenges with us. Like I said, we used to do it in a different format on Facebook. We're going to try it on YouTube here this time. So we've had over 1,000 women go through challenges with us, and the results that women get in 10 days is absolutely astounding. Like we've had women, what's the biggest loser in 10 days? 15 pounds?
16.
16
Now
pounds.
you're gonna say that's not even believable.
No.
It wasn't believable to us.
But it's just
true.
by eating real food in moderation, using portion control. We don't eliminate food groups, none of that kind of stuff. That was using our 10-day WeighDown plan.
Which
It's
was
the plan,
created for Casey.
yeah, that I used to lose 150 pounds between 2 pregnancies. So
It works.
Yeah, and it's only $97. So
right.
you can take part in the challenge without that if you want, and just kind of make your own challenge. But if you
here's
want
the
some
thing.
extra support, grab the plan.
Yeah, here's the thing. Just join the challenge.
Yeah.
With whatever you're going to do, whether you're using our plan or not, join us here starting March 15th. We're going to go live every day. And even if you don't catch us live, you can do the replay.
Yeah. And so there's nothing you have to do to join. It's just subscribe to the channel, and then starting on March 15th, we're going to go live every day to keep you motivated and inspired and going on.
Get you back on track, get you into weight loss mode and feeling good about yourself so you can live out the purpose God has for you.
Yeah, and so we will do another video before then, kind of outlining all of the details. So make sure you're subscribed and stick around for that.
Yeah, so let's get back to our points. And if you don't know who we are, we're Ruth and Casey, a mother-daughter team.
Funny.
So, yeah. Okay, so let's go on to tip number 3 for saving money while still eating healthy. What is it?
It is to make double or triple when you are cooking a meal so that you have leftovers in your fridge for like lunch the next day or for dinner the next night, right? When we batch cook, it saves money.
Yeah, you're not turning the oven on so much, or the stove or whatever. Also, you have stuff handy, which is helpful because then you don't run to the drive-through.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you work and you have to pack a lunch, well, how much better does it sound to like have leftover zucchini lasagna that you can take for lunch the next day than like, I don't know, a sandwich, right? Or a drive-through, right? And zucchini lasagna is one of the recipes we have in one of our cookbooks for our weight loss plan.
Delicious.
I'm making it tonight for dinner,
which
is why I'm thinking about it. So yeah, make double or triple portion sizes. And like to go into our 4th point, what you can do with that then, our 4th point is don't throw food away, because you can freeze stuff, right? You can batch cook and then freeze. Like the zucchini lasagna I'm talking about, you can make that and cut it into portions and freeze it. And then you just take one out of the freezer when you need a meal.
That one especially is at least 12 servings.
Yeah.
It's probably 15. But it's a lot.
Yeah. So the 3rd point is to make like batch cook, make double or triple recipes so that you have leftovers. And the 4th point really is to don't throw food away.
Yeah. So how do we don't throw food away? Here's how, because we have a couple of points under this point. Freeze things that you know in your fridge are not going to last very long. Like keep out what you need. Like if I buy, for instance, celery and carrots and they're starting to go bad.
Yeah, but before they've gone bad.
Yeah, before they've gone bad. I know that I'm not going to use them up before they go bad. Then I chop them up, I do the prep work, and I freeze them into little batches so it's all ready for soup or for a stew.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a great tip for like not throwing it away, right? How many times have you thrown away rotten celery or rotten carrots? Like
I know.
It doesn't take long and all of a sudden they're bad and you're like,
onions.
Ugh.
Onions is another one.
Big one. Yeah. So there's so many things you can do like that. And I love that one, to have chopped celery and carrot and onion for soup. It just makes it so much easier.
And quicker. It saves you a lot of time if you do the batch prepping.
Yeah. Another point under like not throwing food away is a vacuum sealer. You might not have one. This is what we were talking about. We don't have vacuum sealers, so we don't do this in our homes. But we have friends that do.
Yeah, my friend has one and she absolutely loves it and she uses it all the time and it saves the food. It keeps it so much longer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just amazing.
So use a vacuum sealer to keep your food so you're not throwing it away.
And here's another thing. Use jars, like put
mason jars.
Yeah, put fruit in jars and it just keeps the fruit so much better and so much longer in your fridge.
But I think the thing you have to do with that is you have to wash your fruit and then totally dry it so that it gets completely dry. Like dry it overnight on your counter and then put it in these mason jars. I've done that with strawberries and they have lasted like over 2 weeks in my fridge. And normally if I just leave them in the carton that they come in, they're bad within 3 days. So it extends the life so much.
Yeah, and not just with fruit. If you want to make salads, make a great big salad and put it in like 5 mason jars. So your salad's all done. Put it in the fridge, and on say you go to work and you have your whatever it is. It can be a quinoa salad, say with lots of vegetables and some carbs in there. Have it in the fridge on Friday. It's as fresh as it was on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. So don't throw food away. Like make a point of finding a way to use it up, whether that's vacuum sealing it, chopping it up and freezing it, or putting it in mason jars. Like find a way, right? Because
that's going to save you money.
Exactly. So that leads us into our next point, which is soups and stews, or like even casseroles, are often such cheaper options for like making meals that are going to go a long way, right?
That's right. You don't have to all have 2 chicken breasts per meal.
Exactly.
Because that is pretty costly.
Yeah, and you can do that sometimes,
Yeah.
but then make a point a few other days to have
a chicken
soup
casserole.
Or
Soup.
a chicken casserole.
Beef stew is another one. You can buy like beef chunks, or you can buy
Even ground beef.
Ground beef, whatever. We have a recipe that uses ground beef, and it's a great stew.
Yeah.
And they're healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can save a lot of money by doing casseroles or soups and stews.
And a lot of that stuff can be frozen as well,
Yeah.
right? Like if you were talking about butternut squash soup, well, you could make a big pot of it and freeze it.
Yeah, because I was going to say, sometimes like maybe you've made a big pot and you think, I don't want to have that for 5 days in a row. No, I don't either. So freeze it, make another great big pot of something and take half out, freeze that. Then you can just rotate. And if you're stuck and you're short on time, take something out in the morning before you go to work and it's ready to just eat by the time, like heat it up on the stove, it's ready.
Yeah. Another thing, actually, this is not related to this point about soups and stews, but another thing that I always have in my freezer for my kids is homemade waffles that we've got recipes for those too in our plan.
For healthy ones.
Yeah, for healthy ones. And you just take them out and put them in the toaster. Like it's like Eggo waffles, right? But they're healthy because they're made
not
at home.
Eggo waffles. They're homemade.
But they taste even better than Eggo waffles.
I know.
And so like there's so much that's prepping and freezing, and it uses like I have one that I use bananas in, so I use up bananas that are going bad. Like it's just you can find ways to kind of like put all of these points into practice, and it's just such a great way to save money and have healthy options available.
And a vegetarian meal is to have a waffle with an egg.
Yeah.
That's a great healthy meal, and it's very inexpensive.
Yes, totally.
Okay.
In fact, we just did that for dinner like last night.
I think we're hungry.
Yeah, we must be. Okay, next point is to buy bulk if you can. Okay, and to go along with that point, frozen vegetables are actually a really great alternative to fresh vegetables if you're trying to save a few bucks, right?
Yeah. Like we always say, fresh is best, but the next best thing is the frozen. So if you can't afford the fresh vegetables, often frozen vegetables will even be on sale. There's nothing wrong with frozen vegetables.
Yeah, in fact, like just make sure that you're looking at the ingredients, but most of the time it's just the vegetables. And in fact, even speaking about butternut squash, like it's expensive to buy it fresh, but I bet you it's way cheaper to buy frozen butternut squash, and you can make the soup with that just as easily.
Absolutely.
And it's a great way to still get those veggies in and save a few bucks.
Yeah. Another point with buying bulk is like we use milk alternatives. So Casey and I use different things. She uses oat milk or cashew milk. I use almond milk. But if you buy, like where we shop, it always cheaper if you buy 2 cartons rather than 1. Maybe you have like a wholesale food store where you can buy bigger quantities. Maybe you're going to spend more money up front, but it's going to save you a lot in the long run.
Yeah, exactly. You have to make sure that it's stuff that you're going to use up before it goes bad.
But if you buy a case of beans, which we use beans a lot, then you're going to save money rather than buying 1 can at a time.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another great point.
Yeah.
Because even with the milk you're talking about, the cartons, we can get 2 for I think $7.50 or $8, and if you buy them single, they're $4.98 each. So you're actually saving
they're over 5 now.
Yeah, like it's crazy. So it is so worth it to buy 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Or like even with cheese, right? To buy cheese, in bigger quantities, and that's where like a vacuum sealer often comes in handy, right? Because you can buy the bigger size for less money, and then
Here's another point about shopping, now that we're talking about it, is like maybe you could shop at a different store. Like the price varies so much
so
from
much.
store to store. You know, you might have friends who are like store snobs. That's maybe a funny word, but they don't want to shop at, say, this store because that's where
It's
the
the
low
discount
income,
store.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
the discount, the low income store. You know what? Maybe it's time to humble ourselves and go shop where the food is a little bit less expensive.
Yeah,
if
because
we
that
need to save money.
can of beans is going to be exactly the same thing
Yeah,
with
same
a different
brand.
label on it, or the same.
Yeah, like I know even at Dollarama, you can buy things for $1, like a can of beans, whereas other places they're like $1.99. You're saving $1 on one can.
Yeah. Except I have to say, I just watched a documentary on dollar stores, and often they get you because they have smaller sizes.
Yeah, you have
And
to
so
watch that.
if you're looking like gram for gram, or
Yeah.
you know, whatever,
Yeah.
if it breaks it down like that, dollar stores are often more expensive. But some
right.
stuff is like 100% cheaper at the dollar store.
And I'm just going to add in another tip because I just thought about it, is use the flyers.
Yeah.
You can save so much money when you use the flyers. And, you know, we're not big on flyers, but we need to get big on flyers because you're saving yourself a lot of dollars.
Yeah, if you shop the sales, you can save so much money. Like if you make your meal plan based on what's on sale for the week, you will do really
money.
well.
Yeah, and we know people who like are coupon, what do you call them?
Coupon queens. I don't know.
Coupon queens. They save so much money. In fact, you can make it a game and see how much money you can save and still like make it fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially, I have a friend who does that specifically with meat. She makes her meal plan based around what meat is on sale for the current week. And like she saves so much money doing that. And she's really creative with her recipe. She's actually a trained chef, so that's kind of not fair, but
but it just shows that if you shop the flyers, you can and work your menu around that, you can save yourself a lot of money and still eat healthy.
Which leads us to our last point, which is actually to meal plan, right? And like, let's be honest, we're not great at meal plans. Like that is not one of our strengths combined.
It's not, but we use our plan.
Yeah.
So we use our recipes. So Casey and I are good at freezing things.
Well, and not only that, we're good at knowing what to have in our fridge so that we can make a meal at like without wasting food, right? Like I know the ingredients that I need to have in my fridge to make the common meals that I make. Yeah. And so when that's what I have, that's what I make so that I'm not wasting.
And when things that we know that we're going to use up are on sale, we buy them when they're on sale.
Absolutely.
And we stock up that way.
Yeah.
That's another point to save money.
Yeah. But like a friend of mine, she's not great at like figuring something out on the fly based on what's in her fridge. So she like for the week ahead opens up her recipe books, figures out what she's going to make for the week and puts a meal plan together. Because then she's only going to the grocery store one time, which is another point. Like if you go to the grocery store multiple times in the week, you're just going to spend a ton more money, right? If you go once or maybe twice, you're going to save yourself money by shopping off of a list and knowing what you're going to make for the week. Like it's just...
Yeah, and sometimes we forget our list at home, but you always carry your phone around. And there's an app called AnyList. And it's been so useful. It's a tool that I use now because when I know I need something, I put it on my list. And then if I am at the store, I check my list and I don't have to remember or say, oh, I forgot my list at home. There it is right there on my phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, meal planning really does help you save money. And so if you're a meal planner, or maybe you're not, and maybe you want to try it, we suggest trying it for a week. Take out your recipes and say, what do we want to make this week? And only go to the store once.
But don't expect to be good at it right away after.
No.
It's going to take some practice, for sure.
Yeah, we can't be perfectionists at that kind of a thing the first time around.
Yeah. I think the whole moral of the story with how to save money and still eat healthy is like get creative, right? There's so many things that we can do, like even just these points that we've come up with. And as we've been here talking through them, we've come up with like 3 or 4 more.
So it should say 10.
Yeah, exactly. So like be creative and don't make like I can't statements or impossibility statements like, well, I can't eat healthy because it's too expensive, right? When you say that, you're not going to find a way to make it happen, right?
And you know what? If you're saying that, ask yourself, am I spending money on coffee at Starbucks?
Yeah.
Because, maybe you want to lessen your your to-go coffees and buy something that is going to be healthy that's a little bit more expensive.
Yeah.
Like if you cut out one coffee, well, there you go. There's a healthy meal for you that you can make at home.
Exactly. Because I think the thing is, like, you have to ask yourself what your priority is.
Yeah, that's really what it's about.
Yeah, that is really what it's about, because we do what we prioritize, right? And like what's on the forefront of our mind is typically what we do, right? If coffee is the most important thing to you, picking up your coffee on your way to work, then that's what you're going to do, and that's where your priority lies, and then that's where your budget's going.
That's right. So what is your priority? Are you prioritizing your health? Do you want to save money on food? Well, because we've just given you a whole bunch of tips on how to do it, and so it is possible.
Yeah. So don't forget about our challenge coming up starting March 15th. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You can also leave us a comment below what your favorite way to save money at the grocery store is in this crazy state of inflation that we're in. What's your best tip?
Yeah, you might have a totally different tip, and we'd love to hear it.
Exactly. So I think that's all for us for today. Thanks for being here watching. And we always like to say, until next time, treat your body like a temple,
not a trash can.
Bye for now.